So fam, what's up? What it do? Welcome back to K&M Witchery or Readings by K&M. I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe, for those of y'all who may not know. As for this reading, I rarely know what to expect. I was absolutely prompted to sit down with y'all today. I have 4 decks in front of me, so we're just gonna rock with it, roll with it, lean with it, subscribe with it, like with it, all of those kind of stuff, the YouTubey things. Help a girl out, and I'll help you out just the same, because if you do subscribe, my intention is initially to get all of the answers and clarity that my subscribers seek first, and then I extend the energy outward and call other people in, okay? This is how I get itty-gritty with certain things. This is how I can also keep it more intimate, because obviously a lot of energies are like really overwhelming. So a natural growth is what we want here. Why do I keep wanting to say all of these things? So message coming on in. So funny because I just started shuffling decks and nothing popped out, and yet sometimes I just shuffle decks. Not like, okay. Anyways, to the message. You're not going to be for everyone, and everyone's not going to be for you. The way you do certain things never has to actually meet some sort of expectation. An expectation is built off of an unconscious belief based on pattern recognition, based on different values, lessons one have learned, and who says that you have to align to everything and everyone that others expect of you? What do you expect of yourself? And with that knowing, there's a little spider on my window, a little jumping one. That's a sign of creativity, okay? Whatever it is that you're putting out there, are you doing it authentically? Are you doing it naturally? Are you doing it because you're called to do it? Is this something that is sprinkled with your own type of magic? Because if so, you're going to reel in the people who are for you. And sometimes, especially in this society, right, where rapid growth, validation, instant gratification is like, it's what we've trained ourselves to in so many ways require and expect. That slow growth of true communication and unity is what's going to really make your world go round. Because there's a sense of fulfillment that I'm feeling from the collective with fear of rejection tied into it. And it's just causing for unnecessary blockages in your journey and the things that you really want to obtain. And being alone is an illusion, because we're constantly reminded by spirit, by those whom have passed on, that we're never really truly alone, and we're always being guided in sometimes specific lessons, or perhaps maybe it's the opposite. You're never alone, you know? And so you really crave it, but there's a lesson that needs to be learned in being more overwhelmed by external energies, for example, right? So wherever it is that you're at right now, and the expectation that you have of your external environment matching and mirroring your inner environment is what's being a little like roughed out of waters. I have a 2 of Swords. Interesting that I said roughed out of waters. You're unsure, perhaps maybe to listen to your intuition, to listen to your logical mind, which way to go, what to do. I just heard rejection. So here's the thing about rejection, right? We've perhaps maybe heard the phrase rejection is protection. But when it comes down to it, right? Rejection is a redirection as well. Rejection is also a great signifier that something is not aligned, and it's a good thing, right? Like, perhaps it's because I come from a background in sales, sun on the bottom there, that like I had to really learn to like rejection, because the more no's you get, the more yeses you obtain, right? It's psychology, I suppose, and the effort in putting in numbers and like just trying again and knowing that like the right people whom align with you at the right time will show up, but it will also require effort in order to get there. And perhaps maybe some of y'all have been really falling, quote unquote, victim into rejection more and more. It's like the things that you're putting out there, you feel an immediate hesitation, you get perhaps maybe a more negative comment, or just like opinions or questions. I'm hearing so many questions. People are asking you questions. Well, what about this? And how about this? And you're just like, whoa, whoa, like, I'm just trying to roll with it, you know? So fam, so if you're resonating with this so far, I have the Two of Wands. Yeah, like you're not really sure. Like there's too many crossroads here. And I think the crossroad could very well entail previous patterns repeating itself, like a karmic loop, you know? The only way to break it is to act on it differently, to show up differently, to do something different. And I'm getting like a boatload of different downloads of what that different will be. But honestly, it just differs too much across the board for me to sit there and like, so what is it that you have to do differently? Because you're being guided right now to push forward. Everything that you want, everything that you're wishing for, you're aligned with right now. Okay? And it may not seem like it because our logical mind really consistently wants the proof. But what if the proof is subtle? What if the proof is in the intuition and the synchronicities and the dreams? Sometimes it's fickle like that, you know? And then it's how it is that you intertwine it with that logical mind through conscious, intuitive action, as opposed to it being like super impulsive. Perhaps maybe intuitive was even the wrong word. Intentional action is what helps pull things over. It's like the energetic shift that you put out into the universe that says, okay, I'm ready. I've unlocked this. I've opened this up. I've released XYZ as well. For a long time, maybe this opportunity had a chance to come around and around in your life, but you just didn't feel ready for it, didn't feel deserving of it. Like it was a missed opportunity. It was always right there, ready for you to take. And yet stagnation and remaining in like, there's so much self-doubt with this kid. You just give up. Sometimes like you're just tired, you know? And Spirit is actually in fact telling you that there is a dawn, a new day approaching, and you're aligned. Like it's like you've learned what you had to learn, okay? And those fears of rejection, or perhaps maybe like true experiences of rejection, like people are just saying nah, or just not having faith in you, or not really truly believing you, or advising you otherwise. But it's like, so like an example of this is I moved from Canada to Europe, and it was during the time of, well, the war is still happening, of course, in Ukraine, but it was like when it was still really fresh and new, you know, and I'm kind of really close by. I mean, you know, it's Europe. So anyways, a lot of people were under such negative impressions about how the state of the world is. And so I didn't share my move with most people because I didn't want those extra opinions to divert me, to fear monger me, and to create anxieties where I know spiritually I am led there for whatever reason. Still kind of dabbling to find out what more of those reasons are, to be honest, but it's working out okay for me. Just in case anyone's curious. Like sometimes Spirit just takes you on an adventure, on a whirlwind that you hadn't really quite expected, and yet you're perfectly aligned to it. And then I realized that like 10 years ago, the younger version of me dreamed of exactly these opportunities. You know, and it came at a time unexpected where I thought perhaps maybe I wanted something else, or I gave up on that one initial goal and plan that I had until it came around. Now, the reason why I want to share this with y'all is because when we are at a fork in the road, so to speak, you know, I may be biased, but I always leap, especially when you know the outcome is going to be really positive. People found out after I moved, to which all I received was well wishes. It was quote unquote too late to receive any of those downloads of anxieties, or people are like, are you sure you want to go? Like, but it's like right there. Like, what if this happens? And what if that? And I'm just like, like there was none of that. There was no time for any of that. I executed through intentional action, trusting my intuition, and it fled me forward and it brought me exactly where it is that I need to be, intuitively led. The same thing is occurring for you right now, where this is a really grand confirmation that you have already accomplished something wonderful like this. And now you're on to something new. And this something new requires you to show up differently and also only be aligned to specific types of energies. It's like you get to a point where other people's energies affects you so much that like you begin to reject them just the same. When people are choosing to always live in like a pessimistic state, for example, right? And that's their reality, their chosen reality. Everything is just blah, 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 resonance that I don't even like to dabble into, okay? Because like literally my soul is already just rejecting even talking about it, okay? And that's not to say that you can never be, you know, like in a mood or whatever. I'm talking about those who choose to stay on a very prolonged state, unhealing and all of that, right? Like for those whom are on the opposite side of the spectrum where they're constantly healing themselves, like I'm going to assume y'all tuning in, because again, my energy is fickle and it only brings in people who are perfectly aligned to their growth and wanting to do more, right? It's that will to better your environment and release the negative, uncomfortable things as they come up safely, you know? It's acceptance, it's allowance. You suddenly cannot stand people whom are unwilling to do the same and change their reality and take charge of life and be more positive and happy and just choose peace over chaos, right? There's so much of that. So it's like if you had like a service or an idea or something that was for everyone, you would be overwhelmed with all of the things that you've worked so hard to reject yourself. So the rejection and impeding that's coming in feels uncomfortable because now in a way it's like, if you are able to reject, you also have to be comfortable being rejected at the same time, and accepting that in such a way where the things that are meant for you at the time that they're meant for you are right for you. And so the crossroads here is to accept what it is that you truly deserve, as opposed to being stuck and stagnant and in your woes for whatever reason, because people are riddled in their own limiting beliefs and doubts that range across the board. Whatever it is that your reasoning is, it's heavy, okay? It's about putting yourself out there and doing what it is that you're meant to do too, and seeing what works for you. You're going to change things up so many times in your life, and you're also going to change up the people who you attract as well. Like they'll grow with you. Huh? We come from generations whom had a more permanence to their decisions. But with this world and information age being what it is right now, things are speeding up, meaning that we are actually a lot more privy to change. And so the message here, from what I'm getting so far, it's all over the place, but it seems to be like something's coming. With all of the changes that you're hoping to embark on, it's the question of being open to reject and receive what is rightfully for you, and to be willing to have the same done onto you. Because from there, you can allow the wheels to keep on turning, and you receive everything that you need as you need it, and are going to be more comfortable to repeat that process when things no longer align. It's about, everybody wants change, and yet right when it's at their doorstep, they freak out, unwilling to open the damn door and just say hello, you know? So open the door. There is no permanence anymore. We've energetically, consciously, universally shifted past that point. Stagnation is opposed to the direction that we are headed in as of right now. That's why you're feeling all of this like heaviness, because your soul is pushing you to go. And yet limiting beliefs are telling you to stay put and to miss the opportunity that is just, it's right there, fam. And so we're stuck. We're stuck at a crossroads. There is no wrong choice, because you can always turn it around and make it right, is what I'm saying. There's also this big fear of failure coming in and around. What if things don't work out? And again, this fear of failure, it just loops right back into rejection. So whatever y'all got going on here, the right people will find you. You're going to just open yourself up and allow for a much healthier experience in your own progress, in your own impact, in your own reasonings, that will not any longer be overwhelmed by those who just don't get it, who misunderstand, who add stress to the situation, who perhaps have a very big lack of emotional intelligence where you can't even have a conversation with them. There's holy cannoli. It's like compatible rejection towards unity of like interconnectedness. And you're going to be rewarded through physical wealth, through the feeling of connection, through just feeling free to be yourself. It's like eventually, when you quote unquote break out of the 3D or whatever, right? Like essentially what the 3D is being locked into a systematic control of sorts, right? And we could get economical, political, we could get ancestral on this. Patterns are patterns. What's happening in the world right now is that we're breaking those patterns. Millennials are taking a really big push on doing a lot of that. So if you're a millennial, especially if your Pluto's in Scorpio, what's up? Your internal changes are making significant shifts. You're the frontliner for a lot of change that's happening right now, and then the other generations prior to and after are aligning to it in their own unique ways and fighting in their own unique ways too. Okay, maybe a millennial that's team millennial, but I'm not all, gung-ho that one generation is so much better than the other at any given time, because we are all here for an intricate reason, right? So cheers to that, I guess. Spilled coffee on myself, that's why I can't have nice things. Okay. So we know that whatever it is that you're working on is nicely aligned. Sun card comes out here, okay? Sun and the stars. It's like, this opportunity is going to be loud. It's going to be clear for you. Bottom of the deck is the High Priestess, by the way. Love to see it. But I want to know a little bit more of what's on the other side. What are things that the soul fan who are ready to take a leap and gung-ho forward, despite any fears of rejection, any actual rejection, what happens on the other side for my soul fam? The Worlds. The Crown of Wands, which is the King of Wands. I heard some more. Okay. Messages for the soul fam. The Six of Swords comes out, and I just heard burned bridges when that came out. I also heard reap what you sow. The time is now. What else is coming through? Oh, this little tiny... This spider's really... I can't figure out if it's inside my window or outside. The Two of Swords and the Two of Wands comes out once again. Shut up. This is crazy. Wow. Crazy. Crazy girl. Wow. Okay. Two of Swords, Two of Wands. The crossroads here with my soul fam is very loud. Okay? Now I'm just a girl on YouTube, but I will advise you to please just choose something and rock with it, roll with it, lean with it, do whatever it is that you gotta do with it, okay? Fall into a healthy pattern of trusting your curiosities to take you where it is that you gotta go, okay? Curiosity may have killed the cat, but the cat has 9 lives anyways. So keep rebirthing and keep learning from experiences, and know that they're bringing you to a place where specific dangers that you have been accustomed to, whatever that means to you, will no longer be able to reach you. You've elevated yourself to the point of setting such a strong energetic boundary that, like, literally things will not be able to surpass unless they're there to teach you a lesson. And this lesson right here for y'all is to choose. Choose progression, choose health, choose peace, and know that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit rocky, right? Like, the King of Wands, with all of his passion and might, had to get burned a few times, okay? It's a fire. Sometimes you set things off and it's like, whoops. But lessons were learned throughout the process, how to tame his light, but still in such an intentional way forward that he becomes incredibly successful. Some of that passion could lead down a form of disaster, right? And some of that passion could lead down a path of creation. It's just a matter of what type of energy you want to really tap into that passion, right? Are we doing it more to increase wellness of ourselves and our environments and other people, or are we going to destruct more people, right? By choosing stagnation, by choosing to repeat things that, like, just when karma repeats itself over and over again, like, you know how, like, you may even have a habit, like dating is a really good example of, like, dating the same types of people over and over again, but it's like the lesson hurts every single time because, like, you're just so over it. You're like, I'll never do this again. And then you fall right back into that loop and you tolerate specific things over and over again until all of a sudden you break that loop. And then now all of a sudden you have, like, nobody in your DMs and you're like, oh, okay. But that's also because you're not aligned to that energy anymore. And the DMs that you do get, for example, you're just like, I know your kinds, no thanks, you know, and you don't even bother. You just leave it all on red, and all of a sudden you see how things come around to, like, this really interesting way when it comes up to rejection. Okay, there's something big about rejection. Perhaps maybe you're also afraid to let people down and tell them that they're no longer aligned with you. Okay, just stay focused on what it is that you got to do. Okay, instead of focusing on how other people will accept and align and what they'll think about it and, like, like, unless they actually play a significant role in your journey, in your plan, okay, like, the world is yours. Your reality is yours, and however it is that you choose to shape it is for you to decide right now. And with the more action and the way that you're pursuing certain things, people will fall off naturally. People will feel a certain way and they'll be triggered, or they'll get really nice glimmers, okay? And you will be surprised along the way how many people you have silently motivated. And they come up. I had a really beautiful, blessed reading where a client had told me that there was so much motivation that they found from me just doing what I have to do, that they're doing so much of the similar things. They've got their own coaching service that they're really gearing up for. Like, this is beautiful. Like, it touches my heart to be like, yes, like, if you just don't know until you open up to it, soul fam, is ultimately what I'm saying, okay? And it gets better, it gets beautiful. And yeah, it's still uncomfortable here and there. I'll never be the one that sugarcoats it, because that's not what duality is about. It's a constant shift that we need to roll through. And it gets better and better if we choose for it to. Just like you've been choosing for it to get worse and worse, because you're fed up and you're still not breaking a pattern. This is how you start taking control over your circumstances. It's not your fault that bad things happen to you. The question comes into play of how much are you allowing? How can we break the pattern? There is always a way out of every single situation that you are in, soul fam. All you got to do is open up to it, okay? Okay, let's pull some more cards from a different deck now. If we get repeat cards, that'll be really interesting. But yeah, there is something here about like burned bridges, okay? Like crossing a bridge. There's no water under the bridge, I just heard, even though there is obviously depicted here, but like some of y'all are really walking away from things that like you thought would be your forever, you know? The Two of Swords comes out again. I am shooketh. Also, sorry if you hear someone mowing in the distance somewhere. What's best for you? What's best for you at this time? To love on your life a little more than you did yesterday. Does this person bring it out of you? Does this experience bring it out of you? What lies on the other side of this intuitive prompt, this reoccurring gut instinct that is pushing you a particular type of direction? What lies on the other side of that? Why are you urged to go that way? Is it because it's going to bring you more happiness and peace and stability, and all you got to do is go through some discomfort to get it? Because that is a path worth taking. It's barely a risk. It's just a change. That change that you've been praying for, that you have to get to in order to then receive. Or is it doing the opposite? Is it keeping you stuck and stagnant and anchored to a life of complacency? I just got a feeling that some of y'all are really settling. And maybe that's the goal. Maybe you do want to settle. Although, are what you are settling for happy, safe, peaceful, fun, a healthy mix of some conflict in order for there to be resolution? Or is the conflict superseding all forms of happiness and peace? Because there's too much of something now that causes a deep imbalance. Where do you want this imbalance to be? Do you want a positive imbalance? Because that's possible. Now you just have to reject something and or be rejected in order to then obtain. And sometimes what it is that we're rejecting is the complacency. Say you have this really great job opportunity. You've done all the interviews, you got the contract in front of you, ready to sign. What you're rejecting now is a job that you may have sat in for many years. And that makes you nervous, doesn't it? The right people will come along with you. The good parts of that job you can still take with you. And all of the lessons that you learned at that job you can also take with you and do something different, set different types of boundaries and expectations. Perhaps you only work to a specific time period because there was a lack of work-life balance before. You could interpret the same message in forms of relationships and friendships and any sort of connection and experience that you desire to have, especially the ones with yourself. Rejection is redirection. It's protection. It's creation. I heard my snaps, and it's 1:11 on the clock. 1:11 p.m. Okay. My stomach is starting to hurt now. Okay. So there may be this like deep plunging urge to action on something that you are nervous about. That's okay. Just keep picturing what's on the other side of that. Okay? And if you know it's peace, just trust that your intuition This guidance within you is taking you down a direction that you are needing to be right now. And if there is any sort of rejection, good, be happy for it. Change the direction that you are facing, because this crossroads is real for all of y'all. And honestly, with all of these 2 of Swords and 2 of Wands energy, there's a blockage between action and thought. Choose one and just flow with it. You can change your mind later, especially if there's an immediate rejection. It kind of just like does the work for you. So I hope this helped. I really do. So fam, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you choose wisely for yourself. And even if you don't, great. Stumble and fall and then pick yourself right back up and do the other thing instead. You're allowed to change your mind. Okay, so fam, all the best to you. I'll see you in another video. There's no extended, but you're invited to join Patreon anyways. Or I will see you another time. Okay, the conclusions. Bye.